Deep in the pine barrens of New Jersey, something moves through the shadows that has terrorized locals for over 3 centuries. What started as a mother's curse has become America's most enduring monster legend. Tonight, we're diving into the twisted tale of the Jersey Devil, a creature so infamous that it shut down schools, factories, and entire towns in 1909. This isn't just another monster story. This is the dark history of America's oldest cryptid, born from tragedy, shaped by fear, and kept alive by countless eyewitness accounts that continue to this day. Before we begin this journey into one of America's most chilling legends, make sure to subscribe for more mysterious tales that blur the line between myth and reality. The year was 1735, and the pine barrens of New Jersey felt like the edge of the world. Dense forests stretched endlessly, broken only by sandy paths and the occasional clearing where desperate families tried to carve out a living. The air hung thick with moisture and the smell of pine needles, while strange sounds echoed through the wilderness at night. In a small cabin deep within these woods lived Deborah Leeds, known to locals as Mother Leeds. She was a woman weathered by hardship, her hands rough from years of struggle, her eyes holding the weight of raising 12 children in this unforgiving wilderness. The cabin was cramped with barely enough room for the large family that called it home. Smoke from the fireplace mixed with the scent of cooking food and unwashed bodies, creating an atmosphere of poverty and desperation. Mother Leeds was pregnant again. Her 13th child was on the way, and the burden felt unbearable. As she sat by the flickering candlelight, her husband nowhere to be found as usual, she pressed her hands against her swollen belly. The other children played quietly in the corner, their clothes patched and repatched, their faces gaunt from never quite having enough to eat. "I cannot take another child," she whispered to herself, staring into the dancing flames. 12 is enough, dear God, 12 is enough. But as the months passed and her belly grew larger, desperation turned to something darker. The midwife, Mrs. Shrouds, would visit occasionally, her weathered face showing concern for Mother Leeds' state of mind. The pregnant woman had begun talking to herself, muttering strange words that made the other women in the settlement uneasy. One particularly cold October night, as rain pounded against the thin walls of the cabin, Mother Leeds felt the familiar pain of labor beginning. Mrs. Shrouds arrived, along with several other women from the settlement, their faces grim in the lamplight. The children huddled together in the far corner, sensing that something was terribly wrong. "This child will be the devil himself!" Mother Leeds cried out between contractions, her voice filled with exhaustion and rage. "Let the devil take this one!" The women tried to calm her, but Mother Leeds continued her dark proclamations. "I curse this child! Let it be a devil! Let it torment this world as it has tormented me." As the night wore on, the storm outside seemed to grow more violent, as if nature itself was responding to the words being spoken in that tiny cabin. The wind howled through the trees, and lightning illuminated the windows in brief, terrifying flashes. Then, just after midnight, the 13th child was born. At first, everything seemed normal. Mrs. Shrouds cleaned the baby, and wrapped it in a worn blanket, relieved that the difficult birth was over. The infant appeared healthy, crying with strong lungs as newborns do. But Mother Leeds refused to look at the child, turning her face to the wall. "Take it away," she whispered. "I want nothing to do with it." But within minutes, something began to change. The baby's cries became deeper, more guttural. Mrs. Shrouds noticed that the infant's eyes seemed to glow in the dim light, reflecting the flames like an animal's. The other women began to back away as the child's features started to shift and contort. "Dear God," one of them whispered, making the sign of the cross. The transformation was horrific to witness. The baby's limbs began to stretch and elongate, its fingers growing into sharp claws. Its head changed shape, becoming more angular and beast-like. Leathery wings sprouted from its back, unfurling with a wet, tearing sound. The child's legs twisted and reformed into hooves, while its face elongated into a snout filled with sharp teeth. The women screamed and fled toward the door, but the creature was faster. Now fully transformed into something that stood nearly 3 feet tall, it let out a piercing shriek that shattered the windows of the cabin. With powerful beats of its wings, it rose into the air, circling the room once as if taking one last look at its birthplace. Mother Leeds finally turned to see what she had brought into the world. Her eyes met those of the creature, and in that moment, she saw intelligence there, a malevolent awareness that chilled her to the bone. The thing that had been her child opened its mouth and spoke in a voice like grinding stone. "You cursed me, Mother. Now I curse this land." With that, the Jersey Devil burst through the broken window and disappeared into the stormy night, leaving behind only the sound of its terrible shriek echoing through the pine barrens. The immediate aftermath was chaos. The surviving women spread word of what they had witnessed, though many refused to believe such a fantastic tale. Mother Leeds herself was found the next morning, her hair turned completely white, muttering incoherently about devils and curses. She never spoke coherently again, spending her remaining days in a state of madness until her death just months later. But the Jersey Devil's reign of terror had only just begun. Within weeks of its birth, livestock began disappearing throughout the pine barrens. Farmers would wake to find their chickens slaughtered, their bodies drained of blood, but otherwise untouched. Cows and pigs vanished without a trace, leaving only strange hoofprints in the mud, prints that seemed to start and end with no connecting trail, as if the creature had simply dropped from the sky. Jonathan Mulhern, a local farmer, was one of the first to encounter the beast directly. It was a foggy morning in November when he went to check on his cattle. As he approached the pasture, he noticed an eerie silence. No birds singing, no insects buzzing. Even the wind seemed to have stopped. "Something's not right," he muttered to himself, quickening his pace. What he found defied explanation. His prize bull, a massive animal weighing over 1,000 pounds, was suspended 15 feet up in an old oak tree. The creature was dead, its body showing the same mysterious puncture wounds that had been found on other animals throughout the region. As Mulhern stood there in shock, staring up at the impossible sight, he heard a sound behind him. A low, rumbling growl that seemed to come from the very earth itself. He turned slowly, his heart pounding, and saw a pair of glowing red eyes watching him from the tree line. The Jersey Devil stood about 6 feet tall, its body a grotesque mixture of human and animal features. Its skin was dark and leathery, stretched tight over a gaunt frame. The wings on its back were partially folded, but Mulhern could see they were massive, easily spanning 12 feet when fully extended. The creature's head was elongated and horse-like, but the intelligence in its eyes was disturbingly human. For what felt like an eternity, man and monster stared at each other across the misty field. Then, the Jersey Devil spoke, its voice a harsh whisper that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the soul. "This is my domain now, Jonathan Mulhern. Tell the others." Before Mulhern could respond, the creature spread its wings and launched itself into the air with impossible speed, disappearing into the gray morning sky. The farmer ran home as fast as his legs could carry him, and that very day, he packed up his family and left the Pine Barrens forever. But most people couldn't afford to leave. The Pine Barrens were home to loggers, charcoal burners, and bog iron workers who had invested their lives in this remote wilderness. They had to find ways to coexist with the monster that now haunted their land. The sightings became more frequent and more terrifying. The Jersey Devil seemed to take particular pleasure in tormenting those who ventured out at night. Samuel Richards, a charcoal burner, reported seeing the creature perched on his cabin roof, its eyes glowing like coals as it watched him work. When Richards threw a piece of burning wood at it, the Jersey Devil let out a laugh that sounded like breaking glass and flew away. Mary Hazelton, a midwife who often traveled between settlements, claimed the creature followed her carriage for miles one dark night, keeping pace effortlessly as her horses galloped in terror. She could hear its wings beating just above her head and feel the downdraft ruffling her hair. When she finally reached the safety of town, she found deep claw marks scraped into the roof of her carriage. The attacks escalated during the harsh winter of 1740. Food was scarce, and the Jersey Devil seemed to grow bolder. It began targeting humans directly, though it rarely killed outright. Instead, it seemed to prefer psychological torture. Families would wake to find the creature perched outside their windows, watching them sleep. Children reported seeing it in their dreams, speaking to them in that terrible grinding voice, telling them secrets about death and darkness. Daniel Leeds, a distant relative of Mother Leeds, who had become a prominent citizen and publisher, tried to rationalize the sightings. In his almanac, he wrote extensive entries attempting to debunk the Jersey Devil legend, suggesting mass hysteria and misidentified animals. But even Daniel had his own encounter with the creature. Late one night, as he worked by candlelight in his study, Daniel heard scratching at his window. At first, he ignored it, assuming it was a tree branch blown by the wind. But the scratching became more insistent, following a deliberate pattern. When he finally looked up, he saw the Jersey Devil's face pressed against the glass. its features twisted into what might have been a smile. The creature raised one clawed hand and began tracing letters on the foggy window. D-A-N-I-E-L. Then it pointed directly at him before vanishing into the darkness. Daniel never wrote about the Jersey Devil again. As the decades passed, the legend only grew stronger. The creature seemed to adapt to the changing times, its appearances shifting to match new fears and anxieties. During the Revolutionary War, both British and Continental soldiers reported encounters with a demonic figure that would appear on battlefields, feeding on the dying and wounded. Captain Joshua Huddy of the Continental Army wrote in his journal about a night patrol that encountered something inhuman near the Molucca River. His men had been searching for British loyalists when they came across a clearing filled with an unnatural silence. In the center of the clearing stood the Jersey Devil, its wings spread wide, surrounded by the bodies of both British soldiers and American patriots. "It makes no distinction between friend and foe," Huddy wrote. "This demon serves no earthly master. It feeds on our conflict, grows stronger from our hatred. God help us all if this war continues much longer." The most famous wave of Jersey Devil sightings occurred during what became known as the Devil's Week in January 1909. For 7 terrifying days, the creature seemed to be everywhere at once, appearing in multiple locations throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The sightings were so numerous and consistent that newspapers across the country picked up the story. It began on Sunday, January 16th, when Thack Cozzens of Woodbury, New Jersey, discovered strange hoof prints in the snow around his home. The prints were unlike anything he had ever seen, appearing to be made by a bipedal creature with cloven hooves. What made them truly mysterious was that they seemed to appear and disappear randomly, with no connecting trail between sets of prints. By Monday, similar tracks had been found across southern New Jersey. The prints crossed over houses, through fences, and up the sides of buildings. In some cases, they led to narrow spaces that no known animal could have squeezed through. The entire region began to buzz with excitement and fear. Tuesday brought the first major sighting of the week. Nelson Evans and his wife in Gloucester were awakened around 2:30 a.m. by strange sounds coming from their backyard. When Evans looked out the window, he saw the Jersey Devil standing in his garden, methodically destroying his winter vegetables. It was about 3 feet tall, with a head like a collie dog and a face like a horse, Evans later told reporters. It had a long neck, wings about 2 feet long, and its back legs were like those of a crane, and it had horse's hooves. It walked on its back legs and held up 2 short front legs with paws on them. Evans watched the creature for nearly 10 minutes before it noticed him in the window. When their eyes met, the Jersey Devil let out a piercing scream and flew away, but not before Evans got a clear look at its glowing red eyes and sharp teeth. Wednesday brought mass hysteria. Schools and factories throughout the region closed their doors as panicked citizens refused to leave their homes. The creature was spotted in multiple locations simultaneously, leading some to theorize that there might be more than one Jersey Devil. or that it possessed supernatural abilities to transport itself instantly across great distances. In Haddon Heights, 2 security guards at a local mill reported seeing the creature attack a trolley car, leaving deep scratches in the metal and terrifying the passengers inside. In Camden, a group of firefighters claimed the Jersey Devil had perched on top of their firehouse, screaming challenges at them before flying away when they attempted to hose it down. The panic reached its peak on Thursday when the Jersey Devil was reportedly spotted in the state capital of Trenton. Government officials were forced to address the situation publicly, though most tried to downplay the significance of the sightings. Governor John Franklin Fort issued a statement calling for calm, while privately authorizing increased patrols throughout the affected areas. But the creature seemed to revel in the attention. That very night, it appeared outside the governor's mansion, leaving tracks in the snow that spelled out a crude message: "Your authority means nothing here." By Friday, the economic impact of the Jersey Devil sightings had become impossible to ignore. Businesses throughout southern New Jersey had lost thousands of dollars as workers refused to show up and customers stayed home. The Pennsylvania Railroad reported a significant drop in passengers traveling through the affected areas. The creature's final major appearance of the week came on Saturday night in Philadelphia itself. Hundreds of witnesses reported seeing a winged figure soaring above the city's rooftops, its terrible cries echoing off the buildings. The Philadelphia Zoo offered a $10,000 reward for the capture of the creature, while several entrepreneurs began selling Jersey Devil insurance and protective charms. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the wave of sightings ended. Sunday brought silence, with no new reports of the creature's activities. Some theorized that the Jersey Devil had simply grown bored with the attention and returned to its lair deep in the Pine Barrens. Others believed that the mass sightings had been nothing more than hysteria and misidentified animals. But those who had encountered the creature directly knew better. The Jersey Devil was real, and it was still out there, waiting in the shadows of the Pine Barrens, patient as only an immortal monster could be. In the decades that followed, sightings continued sporadically. During World War II, military personnel stationed at nearby bases reported encounters with something that matched the Jersey Devil's description. In the 1960s, a group of camping teenagers claimed the creature had surrounded their campsite, its eyes glowing in the darkness as it circled them for hours before finally disappearing at dawn. The Jersey Devil adapted to the modern age, with sightings now including encounters with automobiles and aircraft. Pilots flying over the Pine Barrens have reported a large winged creature keeping pace with their planes, while drivers on remote highways have claimed to see glowing eyes watching them from the forest. What makes the Jersey Devil unique among American monster legends is its persistence and the consistency of witness accounts across centuries. While details may vary, the core description has remained remarkably stable. A bipedal creature with leathery wings, glowing red eyes, and to move with supernatural speed and stealth. Modern researchers have attempted to explain the Jersey Devil phenomenon through various theories. Some suggest it might be a surviving population of prehistoric pterosaurs, while others propose it could be a genetic mutation caused by environmental factors in the pine barrens. Skeptics point to misidentified wildlife, particularly large birds or bats, as the source of the sightings. But none of these explanations account for the creature's apparent intelligence, its ability to communicate, or the deeply personal nature of many encounters. The Jersey Devil doesn't simply appear and disappear randomly. It seems to choose its victims, to have motivations and goals beyond simple animal behavior. The legend persists because it touches something deep in the American psyche. The Jersey Devil represents the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of civilization, the price we pay for disturbing the natural order. It embodies our fears about the consequences of our actions, the sins of the past that continue to haunt the present. In Mother Leeds' desperate curse, we see the dangers of desperation and the power of words spoken in anger. In the creature's ongoing reign of terror, we witness the way violence begets violence, how one act of darkness can echo through the centuries. The pine barrens themselves have changed dramatically since 1735. What was once true wilderness is now crisscrossed with roads and dotted with developments. But deep in the heart of this million-acre forest, there are still places where civilization fears to tread, where strange sounds echo through the night and mysterious lights dance between the trees. And somewhere in those dark woods, if the legends are true, the Jersey Devil still waits. America's oldest monster, born from a mother's curse and fed by 3 centuries of fear, continues its eternal watch over the land it has claimed as its own. The next time you find yourself driving through rural New Jersey on a dark night, remember the story of Mother Leeds and her 13th child. Listen carefully to the sounds outside your window, and if you see a pair of glowing red eyes watching you from the forest, don't stop to investigate. Some legends are better left undisturbed, and some monsters are best avoided entirely. The Jersey Devil has had nearly 300 years to perfect its craft, and it's still hungry for new stories to add to its endless collection of terror. Subscribe to uncover more of America's darkest legends and the terrifying truths hidden in our nation's shadows.